Eugene, as we continue our conversation on the house and visiting this house, let's talk about William Neal, the man who owned this house.
He was a fascinating subject. If there were three people that I would love to see reincarnated and I could have a chat with him, he would probably be the first one. William Neal, in my opinion, was the founder of Brownsville, apart from Charles Stillman, of course, being the legal founder of the township. William Neal was here and considered through his lifetime, he died at the age of 93, as being the oldest resident. If you can imagine, he was here before there was a here. He settled in Matamoros in 1834, but we have to go back a little ways before that. There's a fascinating part of his life that happened. It doesn't happen to anybody, but this happened to William Neal. When he was 13 years old, now, and mind you how adventuresome a little child of that age would be, he went to the docks there in Britain because he was born in Sussex, and he was actually raised in London, and that's where he went to the dock areas. And he got on board. He got a job as a cabin boy on a frigate that was bound to the New World. At the age of 13, you can imagine. Now, no sooner had he gotten that job than that particular sailing ship went to the Azores, which is an island group off of Africa. That ship was outfitted with cannon, and to his amazement, he says, what have I gotten myself into? The ship went from there to the port of Veracruz and bombarded the port of Veracruz and started the revolution of Mexico with Spain, 1821. And he was there.
Amazing. So he was in Brownsville for so long. What did he witness in Brownsville? I know the Civil War, Mexican-American War.
He witnessed everything. He was here when Zachary Taylor was here, when Twiggs and the Civil War and all of that. So he was a walking encyclopedia of what went into the making of Brownsville. He was actually taken into the Civil War by the Confederacy at the time because this was the Confederate portion of the country, and he was made a captain of the Home Guard. You know, that's a trusting particular point there. Then he was assigned to the fort in various aspects, there as translator, as scout, because he knew everything. He knew all the hinterland that was involved with the area. So he had various duties during the Civil War. And actually on his epitaph, it mentions his Civil War service there. Even back in the days of the Mexican War, he was friends with General Ampudia, and he was also friends with Taylor. And so therefore he was relied upon to really give counsel at those particular points in the history of the foundation of the city. One in particular point that happened at the time of the Civil War, just at Reconstruction, which is 1866. William Neal held two positions of mayor over Brownsville, 1854 and then 1866, two-year periods there. At that particular point in time, we had a Reconstruction period, which was difficult for this part of the country, for sure. But we chose William Neal as being the mayor in order to guide us through that period. Then, shortly afterwards, in 1867, we had the Great Hurricane that just obliterated the town. Well, he was still mayor at the time. He took it upon his knowledge of how to manage business affairs, and he helped reconstruct City Hall. He actually helped build your Washington Park area, and the way he did it was quite ingenious because he imposed a tax on gambling. Now, mind you, we don't have that environment as we live in today, but there were gamblers that would go in and out. There were a lot of gamblers back in that day because Brownsville was a rough and rowdy part of the country. And he says, okay, well, you're going to operate. We're going to impose a fee upon you. It's basically a fine, but you can go out and gamble, but you got to pay the fine. He utilized that money to rebuild Market Square.
That's amazing, and he's buried in the Old Brownsville Cemetery.
Yes, he and all of the Neals, the continuance of the family, are all buried in Brownsville Cemetery. As I say, he died at the age of 93. If you can imagine all that he went through, and he lived to the age of 93, and there are still Neals walking around the streets of Brownsville, thankfully.
Next on RGV History Revisited, the story of the young father who was shot and killed inside one of the oldest homes in the Rio Grande Valley.